Hello everyone, and thank you for watching. This is Hadrian. Let's play some more Planetbase in our Mars Colony 2 series. So we're in the midst of building a mine, and a new airlock, and a new processing plant. We're building everything at once. We're going to see how things go. So the mine is necessary to generate metal, which is what we'll do in the processing plant. So we're really kind of adding a whole bunch of vital buildings at once. Having metal actually being produced on the colony really is what you need in order to keep building, obviously, because you run out of the metal that you brought with you. So that's the idea right now. We're going to build these and then see what their impact is on our power supply. I imagine we'll have to do a little bit more expanding. We have two full power collectors. Right now our power supply is very, very strong because of our two solar panels and our two wind turbines. One small, one large. So that's pretty good. I'm excited about how the colony is doing so far. So it looks like everything that's needed is in place, which is fantastic. We are not out of metal, which is also fantastic. Let's go ahead and set up some builders in here. Alright, I'm going to build just one of each right now until we're sure that we can handle having two production facilities going at once. Sometimes what can happen is just because there's a low population of workers, people will leave metal, like components, in one of the production facilities. Let's lower the glass real quick. They'll leave metal in there, and the end result is really unfortunate. The end result is that for instance, if you put ore, I'm sorry, I said metal. If someone mined ore and then put the ore in here, and there were two of these, but there were only enough workers to work one of them, the ore might sit in one and never get produced. I think some recent patches have kind of addressed that to a certain extent, which is nice, but I don't want to take the risk, so we're going to just take it bit by bit and start with just one of each. We can build another one of each once we're sure that things are going well. So it looks like those resources are coming into play right now. The mine has been built. Storage, do we have storage yet? Yeah, it's right there. Alright, storage is 35% full, so we definitely have room to get the rest of this stuff inside. Another thing we're going to have to start thinking about very, very soon is building additional spares. Let's take a look at that. So these are the external buildings. Have we built a water backup yet? No, we have not. Let's take care of that. Alright, this is really important. In the event of a power outage, let's see, where do we want it? I kind of want it like right there. In the event of a power outage, if say the water extractor shuts down, if you don't have a backup supply of water, your plants can die horribly fast. Self-sufficiency reached. Let's have a look. So that's 3 milestones for our colony so far. We've achieved survival, we've achieved expansion, and now self-sufficiency. You now have the structures in place to sustain your colony. That's exactly what I was just talking about. So we're off to a good start, is what the game is telling us, which is good. Now we just have to be very, very careful. Let's have a look at our landing permissions. Right now we do not have permissions in place for any additional colonists to land. Let's speed up time a little bit. Alright, so as you can see, people are bringing starch in from the food production area, the biodome, and they are going to produce bioplastic. It's already happening. And I don't think there's any ore in the metal processor yet, but that's because the mine just started going. There are 2 miners working right now, and as you can see, they've got it churning. So this is nice. We're starting to see the cogs of the base start to turn, if you will. Let's speed things back down a bit. It's good to be playing Planetbase again. It really is. I had a commenter, I think it was Vince, just mentioned just earlier today that he's glad it's back. And you know, it's really, I agree. Like I'm happy to be back playing Planetbase again, because for those of you who might not have seen the first episode or who are not familiar with Mars Colony 1, my first go at this series. At this game, at doing a series in this game, didn't go particularly well. It just didn't, unfortunately. So this is a nice kind of return to form, spiritual successor to the first series, but we're going to try and go farther. I've been thinking about it, and I would like to do, you know, as large of a colony as we can manage. As long as it's still entertaining, as long as it's still cool to watch, I would really like to just keep the series going. You know, if it got to a point where everyone was ready for something else, both me and you guys, then, you know, we could always take a break and then resume the series later. That's not something I'm opposed to. As long as something is going in my daily slots, it can be whatever I want. I can stop one series and come back to it later. I haven't done that yet, but I'm not opposed to it. If you guys are opposed to it, let me know. I always want to take your feedback into account. But I like the idea of, now that I kind of am more comfortable with the mechanics of the game, I like the idea of building up a very large colony, larger than the one that I built when I was practicing to make sure that I could actually do it. Which that one got up to about 100. All right, so this guy's bringing some... What's this? What's he bringing inside? That's ore. Oh, yeah. I got so confused. Ore is what comes to the mind. So he's putting ore into this thing. Perfect. Into that little receptacle. And now a worker will be able to come produce metal, which is great. So anyway, I was saying a moment ago, has that thing been built yet? No, it hasn't. Why are people taking their time with that? Oh, we're out of metal. That's why. The last metal must have been the metal that was in place to build all this. Okay. So before anything else happens, I need this to go up. We just need one piece of metal. We need two pieces of metal. One for the connection, one for the water tank. Ooh, I was cutting it close there. But we have metal being produced right now. And some additional ore. For those of you who haven't played Planetbase before, let me show you a little snippet on how this works. And the sun is rising, which is great. Let's take a look at how our power supply is doing. Oh, this is fantastic. The wind must have been going most of the night because our large power collector is still completely full. And our small one is decreasing only slightly. So, and now the solar panels, as you can see, are orienting themselves for a new start. So this is great. We made it through the night. We've got a pretty balanced power system so far. We just really need that water tank to go down because, I mean, right now we're not in danger of like an overnight power outage, but let's say a meteor came down and hit the large wind turbine. And there was a night where there wasn't a lot of wind already, so the small turbine couldn't keep up and the power drained, and all of a sudden there's a power outage. If we don't have a water supply back up, our food will die, which is very, very risky when the colony is this small and there's only one source of food. Hey, this guy might have metal. Hello, Mr. Trader. What do you have for me? Trading ship has landed. You don't have metal, you jerk. Okay, well, there's really... The constructor bot patent would be handy, but we don't really have the resources to trade for it right now. We really don't. I could sell one medical supply for a little bit of money. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that. Just to take advantage of the fact that we've got a trader here. Oop, nope. Alright, that's close enough. Do we have a sick bay built yet? No, we do not. So that is going to be one of my next priorities, as a matter of fact. But we do now, I think, have one piece of metal again. We need to wait on another. But anyway, as I was saying, if you've never played Planetbase before, I'm all over the place today. I apologize. If you've never played Planetbase before, you can look at these boxes right here. This can be loaded up. Basically, it's a backlog. It's a queue for the ore that is brought from here. So people can load it up to 3 times, and all a worker has to do is just come here and work it and watch this percentage fill up. I still wish this was a little faster. I'm not going to lie. But once you kind of have multiple instances of those machines going at once. Okay, so we sold that medical supply. We got some money for it. Once you have multiple instances of those machines going at once, it's... Meteor landed right there. Meteorite, rather. I've been calling them meteors. When they fall from the atmosphere, like through the atmosphere, they're no longer meteors. They're meteorites, kids, just so you know. That's a big distinction in astronomy. Shame on me for not getting it right in the first episode. But anyway, finally going to complete this sentence. When you have multiple of these particular processors going at once, like when you have multiple buildings, just a larger colony, then production is a little bit easier. But for now, you know, it's so slow. So slow. All right, so we've got the metal put out for the connection. We just need the metal put out for the tank itself, which looks like it's almost there. Let's speed up time a bit. So this means that we have no usable metal. As you can see, that they've gone out of their way to really show you using this interface in the latest patch how much metal you have available and at your disposal, which is great. I really like that they did that. You know, around the time I did Mars Colony 1, first series in Planetbase on my channel, there was this talk that they really weren't going to patch the game that much. Okay, here comes a constructor bot bringing in some more ore, so you can see. Okay, so they picked up some metal. That's awesome. Yeah, there was this talk that they weren't going to patch the game that much. You know, that they were happy with where it was, and they weren't going to do too much to it. Which I guess maybe that's just subject to interpretation. You can look at it different ways. They were saying, well, we're not gonna do any huge overarching changes, but maybe we're still planning on adding a new component to the game here or there. So it's probably what they meant, because they've continued to patch the game, I would say, once every month or so, every couple of months, really, since I did the first series here. First series started in November, and this one is, let's see, where are we now? February? I promise I am alive and know what's happening. I'm paying attention to the world. But yeah, so it hasn't been too long, and they've had 2 or 3 patches since I did Mars Colony 1. So anyway, this is going to start to fill up now. As you can see, it's going to fill all the way up to 400, which is great. It looks like water grid consumes 2.25 and produces 2.5. So we might actually need to do an additional water extractor pretty soon. I mean, that's a real thing. But the first thing we need to set up to build, I think, is a medical facility. That's going to be important in case anyone gets hurt. We need a sick bay. So a sick bay is a dead-end type building. So I want to make sure that where I build it, there is, wherever I build it, really, that you can. Okay, can I not put it anywhere in here? That's a shame. I thought maybe it could go there. I guess there's no room for another branch out there. That's unfortunate. Okay, well, I do want to have it roughly here. I want to have it as close to the. I want to have it as accessible to like the central area of the base, which I still consider to be this oxygen generator, as possible. So we're going to build a connection here so that people can just go through 2 nodes from the central area to get there. So this is going to require some bioplastic, basically 1 bioplastic and 1 chunk of metal for each piece of the sickbay. And then there are components inside the sickbay which will require components as well, require building materials. All right, so the bioplastic has already been put in place. We just need to wait for someone to come over here and work this ore, convert it to metal. See, this is what I'm talking about. We need another worker to come here, because right now we've got a worker at the bioplastic machine, but not at the metal processor. So we're just kind of sitting ducks. This is exactly what I was referring to. That's unfortunate, but okay, there we go. All right, so they, I guess, yeah, same worker, just switched over to this one. Thankfully, they recognized there was a need, and they switched over. Now let's hope they stay at the machine until it hits 100, because that can be questionable sometimes. A meteorite just landed somewhere. So, main area of expansion right now for the base is we can build in this direction, and this direction. So we're just going to go out here and do more. There's not a lot we can do in this direction unless we built like a secondary base that was over here, which we could do. But I'm not sure I like the idea of having a segment of the base that is just, whoa, hello. He's coming way down from above. I saw the shadow over here and he's just kind of hovering. I don't like the idea of having a base that's just completely cut off. That would be kind of strange. It might serve some kind of purpose. I'll think about it. Trading ship has landed. Ooh, you have metal. Perfect. Take some metal. I think we're good on food for the moment. I think we're good on food. And what are we going to trade for it, though? Trade these medicinal plants, because we don't really have anything to convert the medicinal plants to medical supplies just yet. And I could use some of this money I have to balance it out. Sure. So just get some additional metal. Help us build a little bit faster. Because we've got a lot of bioplastic right now, because we're producing so much food. We're producing a lot of starch, which is what's used to make the bioplastic. Alright, so... Alright, trading ship has just left the metal. Colonists are going to come out and pick it up. Or one of the constructor bots is, anyway. Okay. Now it's time to begin. I do have time sped up, indeed. It's time to begin construction of the sickbay. Perfect. Sit on time a bit. Okay, the bed requires 1 bioplastic, and we're also going to do a cabinet for medical supplies. So that's going to require a couple of bioplastic, but we have that in place. So now we have a sick bay, which is excellent. If anyone gets hurt, heaven forbid, there will be a place where they can get better. And you know what? Just to make sure we're ready for catastrophes, I'm going to have 2 beds, just in case multiple people get hurt at once. Okay. Let's take another look. So next we're going to need a factory, because a factory is where we produce spares. And spares are going to be really important to maintaining the colony. Let's go ahead and have the factory. Can I have the factory here? Yes, I can. Perfect. That's what I want. All right, so the factory is going to branch off from the processing plant right here. And once again, we need 2 pieces of metal for the factory. So this is going to require some production here. So this person needs to finish making this metal, essentially. Speed up the game a little bit. As you can see, all right, the connection is ready to be built. We need 1 more piece of metal, which is ready. Somebody bring it out. Perfect. The carrier bot is bringing it out right now. So this is good. That was actually faster than I thought it would be. But what's going to be important about this building is that it's where we produce spares. And spares are what we use to maintain these things. As you can see, the condition of these is excellent right now because they've been recently repaired. The bots have probably been going out repairing those while I've been looking over here, because that is perfect condition. That's been recently looked at. So we used up some of our spares in order to get that stuff in functioning order. And we're on a dusty planet where things constantly wear down quickly. So we're going to go ahead and build a spares workshop. We can also build a semiconductor foundry, which that's very, very handy when you want to start making money. I don't know that I'm going to build that just yet because I don't have that many colonists here. And on that note, I think I'm probably want to go ahead and start looking at the possibility of a bigger biodome so that we can produce more food and have just the capacity to support more colonists, so we can open up the floodgates and let more people in. It'd be fun, right? Because right now we're just at 9 colonists. It's still a small colony. We're being very careful, controlling the floodgates. The food is being produced at regular intervals. No one's gotten hungry. There's a meteorite right there. The carrier bot is struggling though. All right, so okay, good. Metal is in place. Okay, there we go. Now it's saying food stocks are low. So yeah, I think pretty soon. All right, the spares workshop has been built, which is good. A spare workshop requires a piece of metal and some bioplastic. So it's actually fairly expensive to make. It makes 2 spares, thankfully. But I will need an additional mine fairly soon, just in order to make sure that. See, they've already put some bioplastic in it. You can see it's in the queue. Now we're just waiting for some metal. There's just in order to make sure that the resources are not being swallowed up by one particular production facility, which can happen and can be very dangerous when you're not paying attention to it, which is the reason I am trying to pay attention to it. All right, we seem to be at a pretty peaceful moment while we're waiting for maybe the first spares to be built. I'm going to take this moment to end the episode here. Next episode, we'll continue expanding in this direction, possibly focus on getting a second biodome built. We need to increase production of several of our resources. We need to increase production of food first and foremost, so we can so that we can support more colonists. And once those colonists have arrived, then things will really start to expand more rapidly, because we'll be able to support more workers to do these things all at once, rather than waiting for like one worker to do each of these 3 things. I misspoke. I have one worker that's moving between these 3 things. As we have more colonists, of course, we'll be able to have all 3 happening at once, which is the key. So that's what I'm going to go for in the next episode. Probably more food and then more resource production, which will involve more mines. We're just going to grow the colony until it's massive. And we'll probably I would imagine we'll shoot for 20 colonists fairly soon once we know we have a good solid income of food. So thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I upload new episodes of Planetbase, Mars 2 Colony, every day at 6 p.m. Sorry, I forgot the series name for a minute. Every day at 6 p.m. EST, and I've got another series going at 12 as well. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next episode.